Hello and welcome to Discovering Grays Lake, unveiling the stories and people that make our town so unique. I'm your host, David Wool, and I'm thrilled to bring you this new podcast that explores fascinating stories and experiences of local business owners and community leaders, right here where we call home. Grays Lake Rehabilitation Center is a community-based private practice physical therapy provider. Do you know they have 13 clinical providers with various levels of specialties, including orthopedics, sports, neurology, vestibular, geriatrics, pelvic floor, and aquatic? What? Did I just say they have a pool? Well, they do, and it's the largest indoor warm water pool in Lake County, featuring 2 underwater treadmills and swim currents. And recently added clinical treatment specialties, in layman's terms, shockwave. They have both radial and focus units that are the newest tool in regenerative medicine, available to everyone. They pride themselves on the most current and up-to-date specialized care to keep you moving. If you're looking for physical therapy, make sure to see our friends at Grays Lake Rehabilitation.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Discovering Grays Lake. I am back here at Agora on the corner of Center and Washington Street. We'd like to thank Luke for having us here. If you guys are looking for a place to get out of the house for a day, for a week, or even for a meeting for an hour, Agora is a great place to be. So, cool core working space, a lot of different options. If you need something, come over and talk to Luke. He's a great, solid dude, and he sponsors the show, which makes me love him even just a little bit more. So this morning, I am with Drew Piggott. Drew, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
I am fantastic. Hey, I know we've crossed paths a bunch of times, and you run an insurance company.
Correct.
Your own, right?
Yep, my own health and life insurance, supplementals, anything you need.
Gotcha. And then, unfortunately, I had to call you because I was off of my insurance, and I want to thank you very much for leading me in the right direction and help me get straightened out. We are here to talk a little bit about insurance, but talk about your experience in Grays Lake as well.
Yeah, sounds good.
I have an idea that maybe a couple people that are listening, because everybody loves health insurance especially, right?
Oh, they love to talk about it all day, every day.
Exactly. And it's easy to navigate through. No one ever gets screwed by it.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe we can...
I think that's a great way to explain it.
Yeah, exactly. We can clear up some misconceptions and maybe, if they need your assistance too, to lead them to you.
Of course.
Okay, so first of all, you grew up in Grays Lake, right?
Grew up in Grays Lake. 1996 was born. And
oh my God, way to make me feel old. Yeah. Start off. Great, thanks.
You're welcome.
So born in 1996 and grew up here.
Yes, sir. Yep.
So you went through the whole school system?
Whole school system. Prairie View, Meadowview, Frederick, GMS, Grays Lake North. So all of the Grays Lake school systems.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, and 96. So I was thinking, I was 2 years out of college.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Respect your elders. So make sure we do that today.
It's kind of crazy how many schools like Grays Lake has, because there's so many kids that go to different schools and how they grew up and all that stuff. So, and some cities have like K through 12, like, so it's like I went to 5 different schools in my lifetime in Grays Lake.
Which is kind of cool. I like the way that they do it just the way because, kids get used to being at one school and then they gather. When you go to the middle school, they bring everybody back together. Right. It kind of prepares you for high school as well.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, so before we talk about how you got into insurance, I think it's really cool that I ask all the guests for some notes before we start everything. I want to talk about your dad and what an inspiration he's been, and kind of tell me the story of your father.
Yeah, so my dad was born in Inglewood, Illinois, and he great football player. He was a prodigy over there, and one day he was sick, so him and my aunt stayed home, and they went to school late. So he got a little bit better, and they were walking to school, and my aunt, let's take this shortcut, get to school a little faster. And somebody shot my dad in the back. 15 years old. I believe he was a sophomore at the time. It was early in the school year, possibly. He had a bunch of open back surgeries. Back then they didn't have much, like medical stuff that they do today. So he would have to lay out open for cleanings, the wounds and stuff like that, on this like circular table, which is crazy to think about. Yeah. Doctor, after that, doctors told him he would never walk again. paraplegic. He was paralyzed in his left leg. And him and my grandma were like, no, that's not going to happen. You're going to go back into the alleyway and you're going to start walking on this walker until you can walk again. So he built his way up into crutches, and then he started kind of bodybuilding, but not really, just wanted to get stronger and stuff like that. He used to take me over to Gold's Gym when it was Gold's Gym.
Oh, yeah.
And he would work out with the Chicago Bears players and these dudes doing roids and stuff like that, and he would outlift them.
Really?
It was crazy what he could do. So eventually, got into working out at a young age, and started walking with a cane. He would swing his left leg around, and that led me to always persevere, always be grateful for what you have, and just keep working. And that's what got me to being a small business owner today. So.
Yeah. And seeing your own father, I'm sure the lessons that you learned growing up from that had to be
right.
Yeah, you can't really say no, or things are hard to your father after he's gone through that stuff, right?
Yeah, it was like whenever we would ask him, his pain tolerance or whatever is so high, we would just be like, even when he was in the hospitals for surgeries and stuff, they would ask him, they ask 1 through 10 or whatever,
right.
They'd be like 2. Nothing gets much worse than getting shot. So
no.
Yeah.
And what a crazy turn of events. You always think about how people's lives go, and it's like, what are the chances of that happening to?
Just one day going down in a random alley to get to school.
Right.
And apparently the guy was like, he got caught before for shooting at cars and with the 22, I believe.
Right.
And decided to go to people one day.
Nice.
So.
Glad they put him away before he caused a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we won't start down that road.
No, yeah. But, things happen, and he made the most of it,
He did.
And lived a great life, and
that's awesome.
Made a great life for his children. So
wow, what a great role model.
Yeah.
It doesn't get better than that.
A very good role model.
So after you graduate from North, you go to college? What did you do?
Funny question. So I didn't get good grades in school, really. I wasn't a very academic person, more athletic. And my parents decided, hey, you applied to ASU and got Arizona State University and got accepted. Why don't you go there?
I would have jumped at that, by the way.
Oh, and I did.
Okay.
So I went to Arizona State for a year. Didn't make good grades. They brought me home, go to CLC.
Are you looking for a great time right in the heart of our awesome community? Well, look no further than the Grayslake Village Center, your one-stop destination for all things fun and fabulous. Picture this: historical downtown vibes with a mix of diverse businesses, an array of unique shops, and delicious restaurants. Many with outdoor seating, with an option to soak up the sun or shade. But that's not all. The Village Center is where the action is. And just like the weather, it's definitely heating up. There are events that take place all year round for the whole family. But now, you'll even have more options. Fill up your calendar with things to do. Also, take a stroll through Central Park, Gelatin Park, surrounding trails, green spaces, and more activities to keep you and your friends and family active all summer long. And now that the weather is warming up, dive into the Aquatic Center. Open Memorial Day to Labor Day. But wait, there is more. Visit GrayslakeVillageCenter.com to discover an incredible lineup of events that are happening every month. Be in the know. Not sure what you're waiting for, so come on down, soak up the local vibes, and enjoy the experience that's unmistakably local and uniquely Grayslake. Grayslake Village Center, where the fun never stops.
Went to CLC for a few years and just thought, this isn't for me. Then I went to, so how it happened when I came back, I worked at H.H. Gregg, which was basically 100% commission with a draw. So they would still pay you your $8.25 an hour, but it would go, if you didn't make enough commission, it would go into a draw for the next week, which is a weird, I never knew about draws or anything, so it kind of taught me that stuff into, working commission jobs and all that. Then I went to Dick's Sporting Goods, and then I went over to T-Mobile. And then after T-Mobile, I went to the fragrance outlet. And then once I got to the fragrance outlet, I was kind of reluctant of my path that I was on.
Right.
And I was like, I need to do something. So that's when I logged on to Indeed.com and I saw insurance agent in Libertyville, Illinois. And I was like, oh, that's, interesting. I feel like maybe I can do that. Oh, my brother-in-law does that. Maybe I can call him up. So I called him up, and he's in this business as well, health and life insurance. And he was like, yeah, it's a good business to get into, if you can just keep working at it. And it's a numbers game, basically. The more people you can talk to, get your name out to, the more people that you can help.
Right.
So then I moved in with them when I was 22. And they lived in St. Charles, Illinois, which is, if you've never been to St. Charles, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It is gorgeous out there. So I moved in with them for a couple of years, met my fiance, moved back here. So that's kind of working my way.
Right. So you didn't get away from G-Town for very long.
Not very long, a few years I did. But
so then when you came back here, were you going to start your own thing, or is it a part of your brother's?
So it was all a 1099 position.
Okay.
So it was basically my own to start with. But then I was like, I need to, I thought like in order to be successful and think of this as my own thing, I need to create a name for myself. So that's when I came up with Piggott Insurance Agency to basically think myself into working a little bit harder, that it's my business. Yeah.
Right.
So that's why I started Piggott Insurance Agency.
Nice. And I'm sure it probably didn't hurt you coming back to a place where you already have a lot of connections, people you can talk to.
Right.
You already have a network of people.
Yeah, and a lot of the time it was Facebook. Just the I forgot what the Grays Lake one's called, but usually they're like what's happening in Grays Lake, what's happening in Lindenhurst, just all the towns around here, and just posting my stuff in there. And people saw it, and they were like, hey, we do need help, and we don't want hundreds of calls a day.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Because once you put your number in there, it's in there forever.
Right.
And you're
yeah,
going to get...
if you're out there looking for health insurance, do not sign up on a random web page and your number in. Your phone will not stop ringing.
It's a lead vendor that you're putting your stuff into. That lead vendor is selling it to tons of different companies, and then you're getting all these calls from different companies. It's not the same person with a different number. It's tons of different companies, and some of them could be scams. You never know who they're selling them to. You right now couldn't go out onto a lead vendor and just buy leads, I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure.
Because they're just trying to make money.
Yeah, that's all they care about.
Yeah.
Wow. And it seems like from your personality and the way that you do things, like it seems like you had a goal to do things where you actually wanted to help people. And if you could make a living off of doing that, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and I don't know if with my dad, lots of medical debt and all that, I think it just comes full circle, really. I didn't really think about that when I got into it, but when I started to look back and see how I got here, I think it gives me a reason now to keep helping people, because there are things that happen in your life that you wouldn't expect to happen.
Sure. And
you need something there to protect you. So a lot of brokers are, just sales guys. Salespeople are cool. I don't knock them at all. I am a sales guy in the aspect of selling insurance, right. But a lot of the brokers don't go into depth on what you need, and I feel like they might just push out something that is high in commission.
Yeah.
And I like to show a few different options, show you good, better, best. These are the prices. Even if it's out of your budget range, to show you something like, okay, we're going to add on accidental and critical illness, and if you need life insurance, here's a little quote. Even if it's out of the budget, I feel like people deserve to see that in order to say, okay, I want to remove that instead of not even seeing it at all and then coming back to me and being mad if they did find out about something like that. So I do want to do it the right way and connect with people and learn about what they do need in the policy in order to protect them from these financial burdens.
Right. And I think that especially the time that you're in business doing this different than maybe 20 years ago or things like that, there's a lot more people that are entrepreneurs or seem like they're self-employed, especially after, I hate saying the C word, but after COVID,
Exactly.
people that are laid off and people that are trying to navigate way through and keep themselves safe.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think COVID, did
damn C word,
did play a big role in people moving from a corporate job to self-employment.
Right.
They just, they were at home and they're like, well, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
Let's try to figure this out our own way.
Right.
And there's a lot more entrepreneurs now than there were pre.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, after one of my divorces, that I had to make sure that my kids were covered, and I had never had a full-time job in my entire life. I was like 45 years old and had never worked for anybody and had to figure out everything on my own. But the only reason that I went to go get a full-time job was for what you sell, and was for health insurance. And I think a lot of people are probably in that position or working right now just to have health insurance that maybe if a different alternative was offered to them that was affordable, that they could do it.
Right. And like I was telling you before the show, sometimes these companies don't pay for families or children. So sometimes they're even paying too much for that portion when they could get a lesser price for the employee and take the husband or wife and children onto a different plan, so you save a lot more money than just being on that group plan.
Right.
And then for self-employed, there's the new company that came out, America's Choice, that's basically they got around the group plan thing where you need multiple employees, and it's just for the single 1099 entrepreneur.
Interesting.
Which is a great plan to get into if you're just starting out or not wanting to pay thousands of dollars a month on the Affordable Care Act or through, your part-time job that you got just to make some money, So
We're taking a quick break just to say hello because everybody knows Nano, and Nano knows real estate. And actually, I believe that's the name of her Instagram page. So if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or know somebody in the market for a home, contact Nano from Baird & Warner. She's a Grays Lake girl helping out Grays Lake people.
Okay, so walk me through a little of this because I've been in this exact situation. So I work at my job, I leave it, I lose my health insurance, and obviously I need to be covered. Mm-hmm. So first thing they said, well, you lost your job, so go to the marketplace and get things. So somebody in that position either lost their job or now looking for, like, where do they start? Do they start by, is that a valid option to do, or are they better off calling someone like you? Or is that
I wouldn't research yourself because all you're going to find out there are lead vendor sites where you put your number in and then you're going to get hundreds of calls. So what I tell people to do, if you don't want to call me, perfectly fine. I am a good broker, though. Go on Google and type in health insurance broker near me and find a health insurance broker that you have the number online to call instead of you putting your number in and getting tons of calls.
Right.
As far as that scenario goes where you lose your job, maybe you just need gap coverage, which is going to be a lot cheaper than the Affordable Care Act, which is they just call them short-term plans. There's the short-term option way where you're like, okay, I'm going to get a job in 4 months. I'm going to get some short-term coverage, save some money. Those are for if you have no pre-existings, no maternity, no mental health. Usually for a gap period, you should be fine with that as long as you don't have like these major pre-existing conditions. If you do, the Affordable Care Act, you can just get for a few months. It's just a long process of putting in income and all that stuff. So if you're healthy and you want to save some money, I usually go that route. But if you're not, you got to get into the Affordable Care Act plans.
Gotcha.
And then if you quit your job or lose it and then want to go the entrepreneurial way, then there's that other option of America's Choice now, which is a phenomenal phenomenal option to go with.
And I'm going to back up your statement as don't try to do it on your own, because I went on the platform and found something and then ended up calling you because I'm like, holy cow, this plan is shit.
Yep.
I am paying this money, and I had no idea what I was getting into.
Right.
I don't know how anybody could be educated. That's why you have to find somebody that you trust that's knows the way around everything.
Right. I mean, you're not going to go into your house and remodel it yourself and do all the electric work and all that, right?
You shouldn't.
You shouldn't, right? And if you do, you might
need a life insurance plan.
You might need a life insurance plan. So I would not go on and do it alone. Yeah. I would try to find someone you trust and that has because what we do is we look at tons of different companies for you. We try to narrow them down, and then we add on some things, maybe higher the deductible, maybe lower it depending on your budget, right? An average policy I sell is $7,500 deductible. And people might think that's high, right? They're like, we want a low deductible. But here's the thing. I add on an accidental plan, $10,000 per accident, up to, right? So if you get in an accident, it's $3,000, you'll get a check for $3,000 with an accidental. Okay. So if you're healthy and you don't use your health insurance much, how are you going to hit that deductible? You're probably not, unless something happens. You have an accident or something. Sure. So you add that on, higher the deductible, less premium there. Add on the accidental, which is not much money at all, and then a critical illness policy, because 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women get a critical illness in their lifetime.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's scary.
And nowadays you're probably going to survive because of the just the medications and all that now that we have. So you need some money to rely on. So 30, 40, 50, $100,000 in your pocket 30 days or less after that critical illness is diagnosed. You get a paycheck to keep money on your table, or keep food on your table with that money, pay your bills, pay your health insurance so that you can recover with no worries. Wow. All of that together, you get a higher deductible. It's probably going to be the same price as a $2,500 deductible, which, if you're healthy, you probably won't hit anyway either.
Right.
So that's just kind of how I build some stuff up.
So if I understand what you're saying, and I'm sure that I've had these exact policies and probably have the same thing now, is that basically you pay for insurance over the year, and if all I do is go in for a physical that year and nothing's wrong with me, I'm basically paying for nothing at the end of the time if you have a $7,500 deductible, unless you use it, right?
Right, yeah. So you're getting your insurance for those emergencies, or if something does happen, right? And a lot of people don't want to get insurance because they're like, oh, I'm healthy. You can pay cash pay at a doctor and it'll be cheaper. Right. But what happens when you get a $60,000 bill like my client and you have no health coverage, right? Or you don't have anybody to help you out with that bill.
Right.
So I would go 9 times out of 10 with a higher deductible and add ancillary supplemental products on there to protect you from that deductible and those financial burdens, than to get a $2,500 policy, right? Because if you get a $2,500 policy, you're paying $700 a month, and then you go in for a physical, and maybe you're on the ACA or something, and your physical's free. Or you're on one of those short-term plans and you just get a network discount. You pay $400, $300 for your annual physical. You still have, $2,000, $2,200 to pay, right? And you didn't, and then you wasted that money. Right. But then if something does go wrong, at least you have a $2,500 deductible. Right.
That's all a gamble.
But it's all a gamble.
Smart.
And if you get a $2,500 alone, it's going to be more money than a $7,500 with an accidental and a critical illness on there. Right. So you're more protected getting a higher deductible with all those supplements than just paying that premium for your $2,500 deductible.
I hope everybody listening understands why you should talk to somebody that you know, like, and trust, because a lot of that is very hard to navigate through.
It definitely is.
And it's just a headache, and especially people these days, and all the time, there's so many things going on in your life that's something you shouldn't have to worry about. And I'm sure having somebody like you, after you seem like you make friends, fast friends with people, and you deal with really personal, private information. If they have an illness or something else is wrong with them, that they can come to you, and then you could lead them in the right direction if they give you the information that you need.
Correct information I need, yes, and all that good stuff. And it's not much in the beginning. You do have to tell me about medications and pre-existing conditions. And then on the Affordable Care Act, your income, if that plays a part in the process. But it's really not like too personal. And there's HIPAA as well. I can't just go out and talk about your stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about one of your clients here that I know really well.
Yeah. No, I mean, and you can talk about clients and their situations and stuff, but if you mention names and numbers and birth dates, and that's when it gets sticky.
Exactly.
Like I can tell you about that client's $60,000 claim, right? Because you don't know who that is.
Correct. Wow. And you also do the life insurance thing.
Yeah.
Which is I had to go through a life insurance broker for one thing, and I made the mistake of putting my name in there, and that was probably worse than anything. And I had a guy who works in town here who actually came to the house to show me the policy.
Right. And
basically I had to tell him to F off and leave the house because he was so pushy to sell me something that I didn't need.
Yeah.
And he would not take no for an answer. Well, he did take no for an answer as the door hit him in the ass on the way out. But
yeah, the thing with health insurance or life insurance is it's not and even health, it's not a one-size-fit-all with people, right? Some people just want that term insurance to be covered if something were to go wrong in these 20, 30 years, right? Mm-hmm. And some people want an IUL or a whole life to put money into so that, like if you're 28 or 30 and you start putting $200 or $400 into an IUL, you can have, $500,000 by the time you're 65 to get paid out another like $4,000 a month on top of your Social Security. So,
hey neighbors, this is Bill Mock with the Grays Lake Chamber of Commerce. And if you're looking for a network of hard-working, customer-focused, and generally friendly local businesses who are dedicated to helping each other succeed, then I'd like to invite you to check out and consider joining our Grays Lake Chamber. We offer our members so many ways to advance their businesses through social networking events, special event sponsorships, informative lunch and learns, and the ever-popular after-hours mixers. Come see why we say we're the new wave of business here in Lake County.
Some people want to do it one way and some people want to do it another, and you can't just you definitely can't force an IUL on somebody. They have to believe, what's going to happen with that and that they're putting their money towards something good,
right.
A term life is still, if you have an IUL, you should still have a term. I mean, it should be, something that you have, I believe. But it's a totally different ballgame than health insurance.
And I'm sure that everybody's unique situations, those things probably allowed to go hand in hand. How many kids you have, what's your plan, and what's your retirement plan, all kinds of things like that.
All the questions there is how much debt you have, what your mortgage is, when your house is being paid off, when do your kids, graduate from college.
Yes.
All that stuff goes into kind of what would be the best way to go for you, and especially what would be what would be the correct payout to keep your spouse afloat or your children afloat if something were to go wrong.
Yeah.
So
lots of questions to take care of, and all at the same time we have to live our normal life and get through every day. So first of all, before we go to hot seat questions for you, if somebody needs to get a hold of you and needs help or knows a family member that needs help, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Probably my phone number.
Okay.
So you can call 847-616-9212. Or you can, all that information is going to be on Piggott Insurance on all my social medias. I have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikToks. So you can go on there and look at some of my videos as well. And then my number will be in my bio right there too.
You're doing the TikToks.
I do some TikTok. I'm not good at them.
I actually think I've seen a couple of them.
Yeah, I just try to put information out there for people to see what I mean. I've gotten 2 people off of TikToks, which for, a 3-minute video is awesome.
It's fantastic.
So if I just keep putting my name out there, hopefully I can, and I'm in 10 states too. So, So yeah, I can put TikToks out there and get people from different states and help them out as well. So
I did not know that. So do you have to be licensed in different states then?
you do.
You have to do that?
Yeah, you take the test in your one state and then you just pay the other states, for your license.
We'll come back because I have a bunch of other questions for you. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to learn a little bit more about Drew through our Grays Lake hot seat questions.
It's time for the Grays Lake Hot Seat. The Grays Lake Hot Seat today is brought to you by Premier Chiropractic. Dr. John, conveniently located in historical downtown Grays Lake. Premier Chiropractic offers you a full range of chiropractic care. John is dedicated to treating people within our community and showing them the benefit of great, convenient, affordable chiropractic care. So if you're looking to get straightened out, go see Dr. John at Premier Chiropractic. Now for the Grays Lake Hot Seat.
All right, tell me about the first car you ever had.
First car, 2006 Chevy Impala. It was white. Great car. I really liked the Chevy Impala.
Yeah.
They were fast.
Yes, I was just going to say, There's a reason that they use those as police cars for a long time,
yes.
right? Yeah.
I was 16.
Nice. Perfect car for a 16-year-old. Did you play a sport in high school?
I started basketball in 8th grade, basically. Started AAU 8th grade, and I went freshman, sophomore, got cut junior, and senior year got on the team, and halfway through the year I started again. So,
okay, wait. So you got cut. You didn't make the team junior year.
Yeah, I'm like Michael Jordan.
You are like Michael Jordan. But this is a good lesson for kids, though. So you don't make the. So you then what'd you do? Work your ass off to try to make the team?
I was at LA Fitness every day after school, and we always were actually. Me and my friend were always at LA Fitness 4 p.m. Playing basketball. And then, but they were in season in that winter time, and I would just still go up there to LA Fitness and just, I think pick up, if you have the mindset of getting better, obviously you need those little things like do your dribbling drills and shooting and stuff like that. But if you have the mindset of getting better and seeing the floor and all that good stuff, pickup is the way to go. Just go get out there and play some pickup basketball and get better.
So then you played. So then you started halfway through your senior year. Then
halfway through.
How'd you guys do that year?
We lost in the first playoff game, so not too good. But I think we were like 14-16 or something like that. So we were under 500. So my year wasn't the best. I think we kind of started going downhill after like 2012 was a really good year for them. 2013. Not too. I mean, I wasn't on the team in 2013, so they weren't good at all.
Of course. Well, of course not. You brought them to almost a 500 ball club when you started.
Yeah. So 2014, and I don't know if it's just me or not, but it's like back in the day, they used to have really tall centers, like 6'10", 6'8", and then I was our center at 6'2"-ish. So it kind of like went downhill after that. I'm like, where are all the tall guys nowadays?
Right. They're all at Central.
Yeah.
Or maybe.
They actually, we have one that was on the CLC team this year. Pretty tall.
Nice.
So.
We're going to come back and we're going to talk about CLC basketball too. Okay, so any other sports besides basketball in high school?
Just basketball.
All right. Tell me your favorite Grays Lake event to attend.
The Beer Fest, probably.
Well, of course. I think that should be most people's.
I couldn't go this year, but.
No, but this year, the Beer Fest coming up June. Oh my gosh.
Or last year, I meant last June. I couldn't go. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to give a shout out to the Beer Fest
sure
people.
I can go this year.
This Beer Fest. Yep. Mark it on your calendars.
We can put that in later.
Exactly. Okay. Tell me a place you want to travel that you haven't been.
Greece seems like a fun, beautiful place to travel.
Awesome. First concert you ever attended?
I believe it was NSYNC with my sister and my dad, and they told me I was looking at planes the whole time.
Oh.
So I wasn't even paying attention.
Nice. So
I think
really
I was like
that.
5 or 6.
Oh, okay. That's because if you'd been any older, I'm sure you would have had different reasons to be there.
Yeah.
Hey, bartender, can I have a...
It's probably a whiskey Sprite.
Whiskey Sprite.
Uh-huh.
What kind of whiskey?
I like Knob Creek, Buffalo Trace, kind of a little step above those lower.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Do you have a go-to karaoke song?
The last one I sang, was I don't know the name of the song, but it's When I Die, I Want to Come Back as a Country Boy. I'm pretty sure that's...
Gotcha. As long as you didn't say In Sync. Fine.
That would have been funny.
That would have been funny if they were both the same thing. All right. So, are you an early bird or a night owl?
I am now an early bird. I'm in bed by 10 o'clock probably, unless I have volleyball.
You're getting old.
Yeah.
Have you ever won an award?
Most improved player on my senior basketball team.
As you deserve.
I can't think of any other ones. No.
Well, and I think those are they always say the most improved award is the best one to get.
More will come in time. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more awards. How many times do you exercise a week now?
Now, it's been bad the past couple of months, but I was doing about 5 or 6 days a week until I hit this little dry spell here, so I got to get back in there.
Well, you ever need a workout partner, you let me know.
All right.
LA Fitness, 7:45 a.m.
7:45 a.m.
every day. Yeah, drive
we
my
go
little
to
guy
Crunch. I got a Crunch membership.
Yeah,
with the guest pass.
Okay. Well, we can alternate because I have a guest pass in the other one.
Perfect.
Yeah, my boy's trying to get me to go to Crunch.
It's a little crowded in the nighttime there.
Yeah, anywhere over there I try to stay away from.
Yeah.
Go in the morning. Have you ever met a celebrity?
I had to get my knee checked out by the Bulls doctor one time.
Mm-hmm.
I have no cartilage in my left knee, and Kirk Heinrich was there.
Really?
Yeah.
I
met Juwan Howard at Nike. He was the Michigan coach, I believe, last year or the year before.
Can't tell you like basketball at all.
Yeah, no.
No, not a fan. What's the last thing you purchased on Amazon besides a basketball?
I believe it was pants, like some dry fit pants.
Nice. To play basketball in.
Yeah, I play basketball now. Yeah.
Gotcha. Let's see where this is going. On a serious note, what do you wish that you'd learned sooner in life?
To listen to my parents and to pay attention in school.
I hear you.
Yeah.
If you had to have a theme party at your house, what would it be?
A theme?
Yeah.
I do like UFC fight nights.
Oh, very nice.
I have my friends over and I make some food and we wear our UFC shirts.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good time.
Yep.
Would the 12-year-old version of yourself think you're cool?
I think so. I think he would.
That's good.
Yeah.
People that answer yes to that, I always tip my hat to because it's like, oh, okay.
I think he would. Yeah.
Although I say, well, do 12-year-olds think anybody are cool?
But I'm only 28, and you know,
True.
12-year-olds kind of like look up to people in their 20s ish.
True, and then they think I'm an old man.
Yeah.
And I know nothing. Just ask my children; they will tell you that. All right, a superpower. What would it be?
That's a good question. Right now I want to say flying.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you could go anywhere that you wanted to.
Yeah, we had somebody interesting tell me that psychologically people that answer a certain way to that one, that there's something like psychologically wrong with them. That you should be scared of them. And a lot of people answer. And it's not flying, by the way.
Okay.
Although I think there is something psychologically wrong with you.
There probably is.
But we won't go into that today.
The only other one I can think of is like laser eyes.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
And that just for fun.
You can't say see-through things because then you sound creepy, you know?
True.
Yeah.
Right. You just can't say it. Not that you're thinking about it and said it. But
that's the only other one I can think of, but I'm not going to say that.
Right. We won't say that at all.
Laser eyes are flying.
Laser eyes and flying. Do you have a hidden talent?
I don't think any of my talents are hidden.
No? All right. Advice for someone who, like, you and I have a lot in common, that weren't good at school. I don't think school is for everybody all the time, although you and I share the same sentiment that if we had to go back, I would have learned a hell of a lot more.
Yep.
Pay
attention.
And cared about it, right.
Pay attention, kids.
Exactly. So for somebody that's past that point, but graduated high school, maybe going to CLC or anything else, and please don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with CLC. Advice for somebody kind of moving forward that wants to start their own business, what would you tell them?
First, I would tell them to go to CLC instead of a college if they are doing that, because you're going to save a ton of money, and it doesn't matter that you're still living with your parents. You don't want debt. You don't want college debt at all. So I would say go to a community college first of all. If they did want to start a business right off the bat, I would just say be resilient. Keep going. I didn't start off very good either. The first person who answered the phone I hung up on. They said hello, and I was like, I can't do this.
Really?
Yeah. So keep going. Don't give up. Be resilient in what you want to do, no matter what that is.
Right. And hitting the ground running and having a good attitude is
exactly. Is you're gonna have ups and downs. So just remember that.
So if you had to write a book right now, what would it be about? He's grinning, by the way.
I want to say something about basketball, probably.
Right. I'm not making fun of
basketball and insurance.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay, that's it for our hot seat question. So I know this might sound odd, but I do want to ask you a question about basketball.
Okay.
So we talked about two things that go hand in hand, is CLC and basketball.
Yep.
So you're a coach right now.
Assistant coach at College of Lake County, men's basketball.
How long have you been doing that?
This will be my third season coming up here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, how'd you get involved in that?
Tim Bowen, the head coach, he developed me since 8th grade.
Really?
And his son is one of my very good friends. He's actually my groomsman as well. So my dad passed away, and COVID, dad passed away, getting fat, sitting on the couch. So I'm like depressed, You work in your home all day on the phone, and you don't get to see anybody or anything like that. So I called him up and I said, I need to get into basketball again. Can I be one of your coaches? And he had an AAU program. So I just thought that was going to, I'll coach AAU, coach some little kids or something like that. Mm-hmm. He was like, can you come to practice, blah, blah, blah. And then he added me onto his staff for the college team. So that was pretty cool. I didn't know I was going to get into the college world.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, which is great. I like it a lot better than little kids. I coach 8th grade right now, which they're great. I mean, they're just so fun to work with. But working with older, kids in college, good. I mean, most of the time they're one of the better players on their high school teams too. So you have them come in and they know how to play basketball and what to do. You just kind of have to lead them in that direction. I think it's a lot more fun than being stressed out in a game with younger kids, What are you doing?
Right.
So it's pretty fun.
No, that's great. And you guys have had some successful teams there, haven't you?
They have. And we when Tim first came in, they didn't have a very good season. They won 2 games. And he's been in high school for 30 years. So that was a big jump from going to working at all these high schools to go into a college. So, but then the second year, they won 10 games, 12 games, something like that. I'm drawing a blank right now. So that's a big jump there, 2 games to 12. And then this last season, we're still learning, and we kind of let the boys go out on their own on summer and work, and we believed them. So this next season, they're going to be in the summer working with us.
That's probably a good idea.
We don't think they work too hard by themselves.
Right.
And sometimes you need someone there to push you. So
Absolutely.
We'll have them in the gym this summer, and especially next summer, because we have a whole new group coming in this year, because it's a 2-year process basically.
Right.
So that'll be a new experience and a fun experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The other thing that I think that maybe people don't know is that, because my son's playing at CLC and playing baseball.
Oh, okay.
And man, I had no idea the level of JUCO sports.
Nobody does.
Holy
I didn't
cow.
when I walked in. It's crazy.
It blew my mind. It's
They're real
unbelievable.
players. They're real players.
Absolutely. You want to come watch a fun basketball game or a fun baseball game, go
Yeah.
to CLC and watch
Yeah.
some sports, because it's great. There's a lot of
real.
good programs there,
It's
too.
real stuff. Yeah, they have great programs. Women's basketball did good. Softball did good. Heath, the baseball coach, has been there for years. They've had very good seasons. I believe this year one of their pitchers got Player of the Year or something as well.
Yeah, we had a guy just go, I think he's going D1, shortstop. Yeah.
So they
crazy.
Great program. And a lot of guys who don't get the grades and stuff will go JUCO that are actually D1 players, right?
Right.
That don't have the grades to go D1 at the moment, and they spend a year or two in JUCO and then they go back up. So they're real players.
Yeah.
I didn't, even when I was back in high school talking about JUCO, you're like, whatever, JUCO basketball, not fun. But then like I started coaching, I'm like, holy moly.
Right.
Like few guys in our region were scored a few 50-point games and all that stuff. So
That's crazy.
it's wild stuff.
And
to
things
see.
have changed so much now, because I played a semester at CLC for baseball, and I got kicked off the team because they said I was like a free spirit or something. I don't know, the guy was full of shit. But now how things have changed with people going to JUCOs in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
It's like it's opened up so many more opportunities.
Especially with these like transfer portals right now.
Oof.
It's like, so you have like, I believe it's like 70-60% of those guys aren't going to get onto another team. Like if you're a D1 transfer, you better be a high prospect. D2s, same thing. So it's like a lot of them don't find a new team to play for, and then you got to go D3, NAIA, or JUCO.
Yep.
Most people have no idea what to do with their aging loved one who needs help. Well, there is a solution. A company that provides care and assistance to make your loved one feel right at home. At Right at Home, their mission statement is to improve the quality of life for those they serve. They offer extensive services: personal and companion care, safety supervision and transportation, fall prevention, dressing and bathing assistance, medical reminders, meal prep, hospice support, ambulation support, stroke recovery, Parkinson's support. The list goes on and on and on. If you have an aging loved one that needs help, call Right at Home. Most people prefer to age in their home rather than moving to an assisted living or nursing home. Right at Home can make this happen. Contact Right at Home at rightathomenlc.com or give them a call, 847-984-0103. Now back to the show.
Yeah, and I think it's changed a lot of things about the way coaches recruit, where their things go and where they're actually looking for players.
Exactly.
It's kind of fun. Imagine being a coach
And
looking
if you're
through
coming out of high school nowadays, you're not going to, unless you're top 100, you're not really going to get looked at.
So that's why it's a good option.
Go to a JUCO, get a scholarship. Don't pay anything for your schooling for the 2 years. Work your butt off. And then hopefully you can get a scholarship going to a D1 or a D2. That would be great for high school students these days.
Absolutely.
Seniors graduating, I would really recommend looking at JUCO.
Yeah. And saving your parents a lot of money too.
And you save your parents.
And you talked a lot about that college debt, which is huge. What a great gift to have to graduate college.
Especially if you're just going to college. Like, go to a JUCO your first 2 years. You're not going to miss any experience. You're taking your gen eds. And then the second 2 years, you can go party a little bit.
Well, yeah, you can learn to party with the older people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to. You
still got friends around here too to go and party with too.
Exactly. You have a lot of opportunities in your life to have amateur night with people drinking.
Yeah.
So
right.
It just doesn't put you in debt that much.
Go ask your dad for a Miller Lite.
Exactly. Okay, so how long have you been doing your own thing? How many years has it been now?
7 almost. Coming up on 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is extraordinary, because how many businesses fail, especially small businesses?
Yeah, there's an insurance conference called 8% Nation. Only 8% make it after their first year.
after the first year?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's a valuable information as a consumer on who you want to talk to.
Yeah, it's a big deal because people come into this business thinking it's going to be easy, and some people go into other businesses thinking it's going to be easy too, and no business is easy. I mean, they say you want to escape the 9 to 5, right? But you're really not escaping a 9 to 5.
You get the 9 to 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, or the 5 to 9.
You get to work by yourself, but yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And it's not for people that aren't self-motivated. Nothing is easy.
Yes.
Especially we live in a world of everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, and it gets harder. I don't care what industry you're in, it's harder and harder.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially right now in this, time.
Absolutely. I do find it fascinating for people that take jobs where you actually you like what you do, obviously,
yeah.
But your opportunity to actually make a difference and actually help people. I'm sure you probably have clients all the time where you get satisfaction off of that.
Oh,
to
definitely.
Really be able to help.
Yeah,
families.
I mean, I love the service aspect. Once you have them, check in with them. Because I have a lot of clients that won't tell me that something went wrong, right? Like, oh, I can't find a doctor or all that. So I call them up 3, 4, 5 months down the line. And I'm like, oh, is everything going good? Well, not really. I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me right away? So I do have to check in on people, which is perfectly fine. I love checking in on them and then solving those problems for them, whether it be a claims problem or they don't have their IDs yet or finding a doctor or whatever, So there's a lot. And then, handing those critical illness checks to somebody who would rather not have a get well soon card and a check in their hand,
right?
To have a few months to recover and not have to worry about finances. So
sure, it's a big deal. Well,
is.
and the funny thing is, when I reached out to you to talk to you, it wasn't about the podcast at first. It was
right.
I was on the phone for probably 5 hours with Blue Cross Blue Shield trying to find a doctor, and they assigned me to 2 doctors that were deceased.
Yep.
Which I didn't have much confidence in who I was, but
they might still be good. Don't
right,
judge.
Right, exactly. They just don't call me back. But after 10, 15 minutes on the phone with Drew, for some reason, you had this magic power to find doctors that were in my network for things that they didn't have the information for, and those people on the phone weren't educated enough to tell me where to go. So
right.
you knew the place.
I mean, that's another thing. Don't sit on the phone for 2 hours with Blue Cross. You can just have somebody to call. So get you a broker that cares about the service side of things as well, not just selling, and they can help you out with a lot of that stuff. I mean, just like that MRI site where yes. It's like some of these MRIs, you go into them, or you want to go to a hospital. Don't go to a hospital for things. But you want to go to a hospital and you get an MRI and it's $1,200, right? It's like, what do you can, there's that site, I think it's radiologyassist.com. Mm-hmm. Shout out to them. But they had that MRI in there for like $350.
Yeah, I just had an MRI that you found the place for me in Round Lake, and I went and paid $300 and got it done the next day.
Yep. Yeah. So those are good things to check out, good things to have. There's a lot of those Radiology Assist. There's Kelly. It's not Kelly Health Blue Books or something like that that'll show you the average cost in your area of something. So there's a lot of sites like that people don't know about that us brokers do that can help out. So.
Right. So it's a very good option even for people that maybe have a policy. The one thing that struck me, what you said too, that I did for a long time when I had a job and my employer was taking care of my insurance, but I was paying full boat for 2 of my kids.
Family, yep.
Yeah, and that was coming right out of my check when I probably could have got that for much cheaper. I think that's a hugely important information for people to know.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is, because, I mean, there are companies, don't get me wrong, there are, but most will not. Like, they're going to just pay for their employees because by law, if you're big enough, 50 plus or something, you have to pay for it. But they're not going to pay for your kids or your family. So, yeah, that's a big bonus if you want to talk to a broker just about that alone. Or even if you have nothing, like I'm just somebody that will give you, call me and we'll talk and I'll collect information and I'll have some quotes for you. Even if you just think you're paying too much, So
right. And the nice thing I felt with you too is when I called you is there was no pressure of anything. It was just like I got off the phone. It was like, wow, he's a great dude, man. He's just trying to help me out.
I'm not trying to be a pressure or salesy guy. So
right. And in this day and age, I think that's when people succeed too.
Yeah.
Is when you actually genuinely care about people in your job.
And I will check in a lot. People might get annoyed at that, like afterwards or whatever. But
because you care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he keeps calling me to make sure I'm okay.
Yeah. I'll check in. If you're my client and stuff like that, I'll check in with you, make sure every 3 months, you good? Like, you need anything? Because that's when I find out the most usually. Because people aren't like trying to come to me and complain, but also I probably have some solutions as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
And and like we said before too, you get overwhelmed with things, and the last thing you want to do is hassle with health insurance.
Right.
And if you have somebody to help you, it makes life a lot easier.
Yes, it makes the process a lot easier.
And all the time you save by you having the answers other than sitting on the phone trying to figure something out.
Yeah. And, a lot of the stuff like HIPAA and stuff, they won't let me call the insurance companies for you and stuff like that. But at least you have a guide to somewhere to start, right? Because, if you're just starting out of nowhere calling them and maybe you don't have to call them, you're wasting 2 hours or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. All right. So as we wrap up, so it's Piggott. It's Piggott. OTT.
Yeah. 2 G's, 2 T's.
2 G's, 2 T's. And so find you on Facebook. I'm gonna go watch all your TikToks today.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
They're not very good, like I said, but. I just, I last week I put out a TikTok, and they're not doing very good. 300, 400 views with 10 likes or whatever.
Yeah.
Last week I put out a TikTok, 5,000 views, 350 likes, 2 prospects calling me off of that.
That's great.
And it's not even for getting prospects. It was just, the other TikToks. The funny part is I tried to rehearse them and be like, okay, this is where I pause it, blah, blah, blah. In this TikTok, I just put my phone up and I'm like, okay, I'm going to talk.
Absolutely.
And I just talked and I got more likes and views than all my other ones combined.
Well, sometimes you get more organic views off of doing organic things.
Yeah.
Right?
So.
And you have information that your job is not limited to anyone because everybody needs health insurance. Everybody should have life insurance, and you have information even that I'm sure people are going to walk away from listening to this podcast knowing some things that they didn't know before. And we've only scratched the surface.
Exactly.
So I think there should.
And everything's personalized. So, I do need information for you to personalize your own plan.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
So not a one size fit all, like I said before.
Cool. So go make sure to follow Drew on all the social media sites. If you need help, make sure to give him a buzz because I think that's something that we can simplify for people and you make people's life easier.
Yep, exactly.
So, well, I appreciate you being on
Yep.
big time, and I appreciate your help because now when we turn this off now, I'm going to bother him to figure out my health insurance and life insurance
No
stuff.
problem at all. No bothering here.
All right, Grays Lake, once again, thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys are listening on Spotify, on Apple, on YouTube, wherever you're at, make sure to subscribe. That makes the world go round. And make sure that you get notified every Tuesday when a new episode comes out. And we really are doing these things to build community, to make sure that we can find everything we need in our little beautiful town. So, and as I always end, just make sure that you never know what your family, your friends, or just a stranger is going through today. So do one simple random act of kindness. It can change people's days around big time, and kindness spreads like wildfire. So get out there and do something good, make somebody smile, or 2 or 3. So thank you once again, Grays Lake, for listening. Thank you, Drew, for being on.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see y'all next Tuesday.